I've seen his natal star. Come and worship Christ, the newborn King. Watching long in hope and fear. Suddenly the Lord descending in his temple shall appear. Come and worship. Come and worship. Worship Christ, the newborn King. Worship Christ, the newborn King.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to Patriots Met. My name's Joshua Bennett. I'll be here for the next few hours. Turn down the buzz. There. That's better. No more buzz in my ear. Be here for the next few hours to talk about cool things. Like Christmas. No, not specifically. Well, yes, maybe specifically. So hope everyone had a good... Had a good Thanksgiving here the last couple days ago, Thursday. I did. How about you, Mike?
That was fine.
Yeah. It was fine. There's some pretty so I read a pretty interesting article about it being the saddest or the most complicated, the most dire since the Great Depression.
Oh, the Thanksgiving.
And the conversation in that was around the amount of suicides.
Mm-hmm.
Where was now? I'm starting to forget a little. Where was it? Suicide's gone up 70% in some age groups, some different. And you can directly link it to the lockdowns, right? And you think about these self-righteous, oh boy, that literally almost came. Self-righteous jerks.
I need a bleep button on my side.
Yeah, I needed a bleep button right then. That are pushing and pushing and pushing and make fun of you and scream at you and act like you're the devil himself and all this stuff. And it's all self-righteous BS.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sick of it. And now you got Anchorage. I feel so bad for those people down there. Going back into full lockdown. A full lockdown again. This is like the third time they're having one.
Mm-hmm.
So, do they work? Obviously not.
Well, so what are the conditions of the lockdown there?
It's locked down.
So like you can't go outside. It's just like Spain
full
had
lockdown.
Like
just
Spain.
It's just like the one they had last spring.
Okay.
But they just got over one a couple months ago again, because the governor, the mayor, Begich, did a few weeks. Like he just randomly. That's the other thing too.
It's Berkowitz.
You pieces of crap keep telling us about how it's science, but you're all full of it. You're all full of crap.
Well, they put
and you're killing people.
And they put in a temporary mayor that's is she still in
Yeah,
charge?
she's
And
not even elected.
She's more leftist than Berkowitz was,
Yeah.
from what I understand.
These commie little bastards. They're communist. She gets all, oh boy, I get to be the little Kim Jong-un now. Oh, I get to lock everyone down in America. They're locking us down.
Looks like she's competing.
No churches.
Was she competing with that dominatrix gal in Michigan?
Yeah.
The one that's always dressing in black leather and threatening to
and paints
almost
her lips
threatening to
black.
execute people.
Yeah. What is that piece of crap's name? Michigan guy.
She's not worth remembering.
You want to forget her. But it's America, right?
Yeah.
Destroying things. How in the world did we get to a place where we ceded so much power to governments at all stages, even these little peon mayors? What are they?
They're nothing.
They're nothing.
They're
it's one
nothing.
person, and they tell us it's science, and it's BS.
Well, remember what Del Buete said. They have no power
except that we give them.
Except that which you give them. Just ignore them.
People in Anchorage, I really hope.
To ignore them. They need to have a few thousand people just to defy what they're doing. Maybe a few thousand people from Fairbanks need to go down to Anchorage and show them how to do it.
Well, maybe that's what's needed. They'll arrest you. They'll find folks.
There's no law.
Protesting and
no law to worry about.
All that good stuff. You stand up for your neighbors when things are drastic and people can arrest you and throw you in prison. That's when you got to stand up, because if it's that point, if it's at that point that you can't go out and do certain things or you're arrested, you can't go to work or you're arrested, then you need to freaking stand up and tell them to go to hell.
Well, I'm sure you saw you saw the video of the gym owners that ran the cops out of their gym.
Yep.
And during a lockdown, and the cops couldn't do anything.
Yep.
They just said, "Get out."
And that was in New York. The worst of them all.
There is no law that they can point to that supports the lockdowns in Anchorage.
Yep.
They can't do it. Just defy them.
And quit letting them lie to you that it's science, because there's no science. For one, the science says that the lockdowns don't work, period. Lockdowns don't work. It's a virus. It doesn't go away.
Right.
It doesn't go away. And on one hand, they tell you not to gather together and to stay outside, and and then they lock you down and say you have to stay in your home. So they're messing with your freaking minds. And so that's science. And then science is that you have to put a mask on in between bites. Science says that they have to have a curfew because the coronavirus doesn't operate between these hours, but it operates between these hours. It's science that you have to wear a mask to go to your table, but not once you get there. It's science that you can't. I mean, folks, you've had to have read the same things that we read, or maybe you don't. It's all BS. Yeah. It's all of it is.
There are literally billions of of different types of viruses, but only a very, very small fraction of them even affect humans.
Yep.
And you take what they're talking about with the mutation, the COVID-19 mutation. Oh, you could catch this, but you might be asymptomatic, and that's why it's such a threat. If it's asymptomatic, it doesn't affect you.
Right.
They're telling you that these billions of viruses that exist in nature that don't even affect humans are going to cause us to lock down.
Well, actually they are, Mike, because they're already saying that, well, just get used to it because this is the new norm.
No, it's not the new.
This is going to be the new norm. This is the way it's going to be. Some heads in the military have already said they're going to, this is just going to be the new military. Stay in lockdown.
Really?
Yeah. Or not stay, mask. Mask and social distancing. Yeah.
Okay.
Folks in Fairbanks here that are listening, do you realize that a mayor in Anchorage is literally killing people by locking down and shutting down businesses there? People are committing suicide because of it. People are losing all of their business, like everything that had something to do with their livelihood is being destroyed. And again, it's all BS. Look at all the different mayors, governors, Governor Newsom. You have to wear a mask when you're eating. You have to blah, blah, blah. And what do? They catch him with a whole bunch of fancy elites at a restaurant, and he's just having a good old time. No social distancing. $400 a plate. You can't afford that, you surf. Get back to your house and sit on the couch. But I got to go out. No mask, no social distancing, all nice and beautiful. Mm-hmm. The mayor of Denver, Colorado, 30 minutes after he had this press conference where he said, hunker down, no travel for Thanksgiving, blah, blah, blah. He got on a damn plane and flew to Illinois, or no, he flew somewhere south.
To his family.
Flew to his family. After he told us or them that they couldn't do it.
Yeah, and then
within a half an hour.
And then after he got caught, he goes and does his public apology. Oh, I'm so sorry. Mm-hmm. I'm so sorry I got caught.
I wasn't prepared. Same thing Gavin Newsom did. He was like, oh, I'm really sorry. I had a misjudgment of character. Bull.
I need a bleep button.
Gosh dang. Bull crap. You lying sack of crap. You knew exactly what you were doing. You don't care because you're the elite. You're having a great time telling everyone else what to do. You little commie bastard. And I hate you. I hate all of them. I hate them. The ones in power. Okay. I'll give a slide to the Karens. Not much, but a slide. The rest of you communist pieces of crap, Christmas cheer and all, I hate you.
Well, they know what they're doing, and they are being bribed by the World Economic Forum.
Absolutely, they're being bribed. Absolutely, they're being bribed.
They think they're going to be the new commissars in the new, the new Bolshevik. The new Bolshevik empire revolution that they think they're building. They're going to be the first ones taken out to the gallows.
Yeah, folks, you idiot, jackass, son of a monkey's uncles, stupid mayors and governors that think, oh, I'm going to be part of the new power that comes into it. You need to learn your history. I mean, it's obvious none of these people know any kind of history ever. They don't listen to this show. They should. That should actually be required. We should make the commies have to listen to us. Like, that'll be our only tyrannical move is they have to listen to us. For
they don't study history. They go to college and they study things like,
because if they did
lesbian culture,
right? If they did
studies, that's what they study.
I know. If they did study history, they would know that they're the useful idiots when the powers that be actually do come to power. The first thing they do is bump those people off because they're threats to their power. Mm-hmm. And that kind of power, evil doesn't share.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't share power. It's like in the Lord of the Rings when Saruman was like, and we will rule. And Gandalf's like, Sauron doesn't share power.
No.
Sauron, whatever. Doesn't share power. The ring has one master. Power has one master, and it's not nice. It doesn't share. It doesn't play good. Folks, we should be really upset that our fellow Alaskans in Anchorage right now are suffering. Mm-hmm. And they're not suffering because of COVID-19. They're suffering because of the government in America. That's unacceptable. They're losing their businesses. They're losing their family fortunes, their life. Yeah, they're losing their lives. Suicides are up. Suicides between 18 and 24 has like tripled. For real? Suicides, people, your kids, our future, they're killing themselves because they don't see a future because a-holes get on the TV and tell them there is no future. Mm-hmm. The CDC itself, Mike, said there's no reason to close schools.
Right.
Right. And we can go all day about how we don't like public schools, and we don't. But in this situation, it's killing people by closing the schools. Yeah. Parents are single parent homes that are already working one or two jobs. Now got to figure out how to take care of their kids at home, which, sure, that's their responsibility in the first place. But you can't take someone and force them in a situation that they're in for so long and then pull it out from under them. Pull the rug out, literally, and say, okay, now you have to deal with this.
Well, even, Ron Paul kind of talked about that before when we were talking about how, when he was talking about getting rid of the welfare state. But he pointed out that you can't just rip the rug out from under people. It's going to have to be done gradually. So, even the hardest core libertarians understand that.
Yep.
Just forcing austerity onto everyone is going to make the situation worse. And that's the intent, is to make the situation as bad as possible so that they'll go to the state, whatever, the World Economic Forum, and say, we need a new program. And then they'll give the new program. But they've already announced what the new program is. And that is that you will get your guaranteed universal income, your basic universal income, with the condition that you sign over all of your private property to them. Now, them is not necessarily defined. It's just assumed to be the state, I think. But they say what their statement is that you will not own anything, and you will never own anything again, and you'll be happy about it.
Be happy.
That's what the World Economic Forum actually says. If you go to their website, they have that slogan there: own nothing and be happy. And that's what they're doing. They're trying to get people to the position where they beg for it.
Here's my
but I think there's a problem with that though.
Screw and you.
Mm-hmm.
There's my response to that. Screw you.
Yeah, well, yeah. And then but there may be an issue with that comes up. Like take Anchorage, where they're locking everybody down, where you can say, well, vote with your feet and leave, right?
Yeah.
That's hard for people to do because they've invested so much into where they're at. Their homes, their vehicles, their business, everything.
Why should we get driven out from our homes by those bastards?
That's the only thing stopping them from doing it. But if the WEF comes along and says you can own nothing, well, I can own nothing anyway. So why not just burn that house down that I was forced to hand over to the state? Just burn it down and leave and go somewhere else. Maybe they forgot that step.
Well, they're not at that step yet.
They're not. No, they're not. But
we've got it. I don't know. What do we do? I've been sending messages to the governor like crazy because he's a worthless little worm.
Right.
What a little, gosh, he makes me so mad. He could be such a hero, but he's a freaking zero. He's a double zero. Mm-hmm. Double up buckshots. All that guy is 0-0. Makes me so mad. He could step in and tell that mayor, screw off. You're out of here. Mm-hmm. Arrest the mayor for violating the constitutional rights. How about that?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, where is this constitution these pieces of crap keep talking about?
Yeah.
And I don't like the mayor of New York.
Oh, New York.
Or the governor. Well, yeah, whatever. The Supreme Court can say, okay, Supreme Court can say whatever. You don't care. Well, then if they don't care about the system of government that they're forcing us to follow, then we shouldn't care about their system of government either and not follow anything they say. And folks, you got to remember, these health mandates, executive orders, all these things, they're not law. You're not, okay, we go so far to say you're not bound by anything they say anyways, because man shouldn't govern man. That's wrong. But at the very least, these mandates are not law. They're not prescribed law. They didn't go through legislator. Folks, remember, you go out and you vote for legislators to represent you in making of laws. That's how your system works. Mm-hmm. One person cannot say, oh, well, now I am going to be the law. I will execute. You're not a king. Then there's no such thing. I mean, the Supreme Court, again, I'm using your law that you want. Supreme Court said, what's that gal's name? Gorich or OAG, whoever just got put in. Oh. She said, it's about dang time this situation, these lockdowns came before the Supreme Court because we've got to stop it. It's unconstitutional. So I thought, well, good job, lady. Mm-hmm. Good job. But you got more balls than the rest of the guys than the men.
Yeah, but apparently the bribed politicians like the governor of New York or the interim mayor of Anchorage or Trudeau, they don't care what a court says. Mm-mm. Because
they got the backing of the big guys.
Right.
Folks, you got to look at what's going on. They don't care because they think that it's all going to be over. They're going to have a new system. And build back better.
That's what build back better. That's what Trudeau keeps repeating that.
So does Biden.
Yeah.
And Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, folks, if you saw John Kerry, I know you're thinking, John Kerry, why am I having to think about that ugly?
Oh, the climate czar that has,
Frankenstein.
Was it like 12 houses, his own private jet, 12 cars? I can't remember. Some ridiculous.
He's using the actual Great Reset words. Mm-hmm. He's not saying build back better or anything. He's just saying this is an excellent opportunity for us to have the Great Reset. Folks, they're trying to steal, and I'm not talking about the election. They're trying to take away your freedoms in your country and have a whole new world. And I don't mean the pretty one, a whole new world. No, this is more like, this is a whole new world, Jack. There's the cattle car. Get on. Oh, you don't agree? We'll take your kids. I'm really upset. Why? Because I was reading, I had 2 back surgeries in the last couple of months. So all I do is sit around and read because I can't do jack. And the more I read, the more angry I get and it's righteous anger. I'm telling you, almost 40 million Americans last night, or let's use Thanksgiving, did not have enough to eat. 40 million in America. Did you see how long the food lines are in Texas?
Oh,
they
yeah.
take 24 hours to get to when you start to when you get your food. And in New York, Thanksgiving dinners they were giving out, the miles and miles and miles of cars. 40 million people didn't have enough food to eat on Thanksgiving or last night. Americans.
Yeah.
70 million people are still filing for unemployment because they don't have jobs. More people are going to lose their homes next year than in history. And it wasn't the coronavirus, folks. Your government did that to you. Your government did that to you for a disease that if you catch it, you have a 99.98% survivability rate, and that's among all age groups. If you're under 70, you automatically pop up to like a 0.05.
Yeah.
If you're a little kid, if you're a school-age kid, it's like 0.002% chance of dying.
I know people who...
I'm trying to get rid of some of the zeros because of statistics versus percentage, and who cares? Yeah. Folks, it's deadly for some. Okay, we are human beings with brains that can understand how to fix situations. There's no such thing as one size fits all. If you think that and you have kids, you're doing it wrong. Because even if you have 2 children, you can't treat them both the same because they're different. They need different needs. They have different needs. They have different situations. They have different emotions. It's the same way with 328 million people that live in America. You can't have a one size fits all. We know now that, okay. I still doubt some of this stuff, but we at least know that the elderly, people 70 and older, are higher susceptibility to this, just like everything else. And we need to protect them. Your school kids can go back to school because they've proven over and over there's like 0 transmission in the schools. Little kids don't transmit it. And then people, oh yeah, well, there was a little kid that died. That's because people die. We have deaths, like 55,000 people die a week here, or 50, I don't know, maybe it's a month. No, it's a week, and I don't even want to get into the fact that, heart disease, which is the #1 killer in America, has only killed like 2 people this year. Amazingly enough, all causes of death are down to like 2%, and coronavirus is the rest. Yeah, that's bull. Folks, they're killing our fellow Alaskans, and I'm using the word literally because they literally are. They're the ones killing them. It's not the coronavirus. It's wrong. There's got to be something we should do about it. At least scream and yell and tell that worthless governor to get off his butt and be a man, like the lady in North or South Dakota who's a man.
Tell him to kick that woman out of Anchorage.
Yeah. Arrest her. Arrest her as a communist.
Whatever pronoun she uses.
Subverter.
I have no idea. Maybe it's a G or something. But yeah, he needs to get rid of her. She's not even elected. I think was it March she's supposed to go through election? They're supposed to go through election?
Yeah, but they're refusing to allow an election to happen.
Oh, that's okay.
They're supposed to, by their code, have an election immediately because this is supposedly this country is supposed to be a representative republic or a representative government. You don't have representative government, so you have an unelected mayor forcing people to lose their lives. That's straight out of North Korea. Kim Jong-un. He's over there going, these Americans got it down. They must have read my book on how to be a tyrant.
Yeah, or how to be a slave.
Yeah.
Considering no one will do anything.
And you got to think.
Oh, no, I'm locked down. I can't go anywhere. I have to obey.
Right.
No, you don't.
You don't have to obey.
In fact, you have a duty not to obey.
You have a duty not to obey. And folks, a lot of you were saying, why are those guys always so upset about masks? Because we knew this was coming. This is the follow-up to it. The mask is just to get you, because even those people, the other side, the people at the World Health Organization themselves said, yeah, they don't work, but they're a sign of obedience. They're a public sign of obedience.
They're a symbol of obedience. They're also kind of an enforcer of obedience. I put this mask on. I have to do what everyone else, what they say.
An enforcer. That's a good point.
In fact, I guess we got a minute. Yeah, one of our friends, Dave, actually sent us a movie that is very representative of that. It's Harrison Bergeron. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Bergeron.
Close enough.
It was a great film, actually. I loved it. But they have this thing over their head, and it is the mask.
Yeah.
So I would suggest people go look it up on YouTube, Harrison Bergeron.
Yeah.
And watch that, and you will see what's going on right now. It's kind of funny because in the first part of it, this occurs in 2053, and they're talking about history, and they're going through. And in the year 2018, people were upset because they lost their jobs, and by 2020, there had been a revolution, and they all became basically Bolsheviks.
All right, folks, we'll be right back. Merry Christmas. This is Patriots Lament.
K248DK 97.5 FM Fairbanks, the heartbeat of Alaska.
Vowing revenge. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. Iran's supreme leader is calling for definitive punishment in response to the apparent assassination of the country's top nuclear scientist. Iranian officials blaming Israel for the killing.
Analysts say one thing is for sure, this attack is definitely going to renew tensions between the U.S. and Iran in the waning days of President Trump's term. And some analysts are out there saying it could box in President-elect Biden in terms of what he can now do with Iran. And for the reason for that is that President-elect Biden has suggested that he would like to return to that deal that the Trump administration pulled out of.
Fox's Ryan Chocote, Israel's cabinet minister, says he has no clue who was behind the deadly attack. The Trump administration expected to make its case before the U.S. Supreme Court after a federal appeals court Friday found no evidence of election fraud in Pennsylvania.
It's not a guarantee the Supreme Court will hold oral arguments on the merits of this case the Trump campaign is bringing forward, because time is running out. Justice Samuel Alito will look at the case. He could nix it all together or allow input from the other justices and possibly allow the Trump campaign to have more time to prove their arguments from Pennsylvania.
Fox's David Spunt. The U.S. has seen 17 straight days of record COVID-19 hospitalizations. Fox's Christina Coleman is in Los Angeles, where a new stay-at-home order is set to begin on Monday.
The U.S. has now topped 13 million COVID cases, and more than 264,000 Americans have died from this virus. Here in L.A. County, the 5-day average of new infections hit 4,751 yesterday, more than meeting the threshold county officials set for putting this new stay-at-home order in place.
The new limitations in L.A. County ban people from having public or private gatherings with those from outside of their household. America is listening to Fox News.
It's a calling that's kept us free. It's a place to belong. What's the calling? Being a member of the Air Force Reserve. It's doing a job that makes a difference, serving your community and your country. It's part-time service where the impact is full-time, and the experience, education, and other benefits you receive can enhance your civilian career and your life. What's your calling? Air Force Reserve. To find out about local job opportunities with the Air Force Reserve at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson, call 800-257-1212 or go to afreserve.com. This message is sponsored by the Air Force Reserve and aired by the Alaska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Don't miss 50-50 Friday on KFAR. Every Friday morning at 9 a.m. sharp, we offer up amazing gift certificates from different local businesses. That's when they go on sale for half price. From incredible food offers to fantastic services, you'll get it for half price every Friday at 9 a.m. So don't miss out on this offer.
This week's 50-50 Friday deal is brought to you by Premier Carpet Cleaning. Do you have kids, animals, husbands that forget to take off their shoes when they come in the house? Well, it's time to get those carpets cleaned and for half the price. Score! Services are for carpet, upholstery, and tile cleaning only. Pet treatment available for an extra fee. Don't miss this chance to have a fresh, clean home before Christmas. See details on our website for 50-50 Friday with Premier Carpet Cleaning.
This Friday morning at 9 a.m., log on to our website at KFAR660.com. Simply click on the red 50-50 ticket in the upper right-hand corner and get your gift certificate for half price. That's 50-50 Friday at KFAR660.com.
Happy holidays from King Cab, Alaska Cab, and Arctic Taxi at 452-2222. Remember to celebrate responsibly and leave the driving to them. And speaking of driving, they are looking for drivers for the busy holiday season. Call them today at 452-2222.
The holidays are a special time here in Fairbanks, and all of us at the radio station hope you get to celebrate the season with family and friends. Thanks for sharing your days and nights with us here at the radio station. From our local family of radio stations, wishing you nothing but the best for 2020.
You've sat in that chair for years. You love that chair. But something isn't right. There's a wiggle that wasn't there. Now you're missing a cap screw that definitely was there. Need a fastener? If it hooks up, holds on, hangs on, clips on, glues on, bolts on, screws in. If it fastens stuff together, Sentry has it. And the largest selection of nuts, bolts, screws, and washers in the interior. Standard to metric, chrome, galvanized, stainless. Sentry hardware. What you need right now.
Winter of life, we tremble in shadows this cold and last night. Frozen in the snow lie roses sleeping, flowers that will echo the sunrise. Fire of hope is our only one. Weary, its flame will be dying soon. Voice in the distance, call in the night, on wind you enfold us, you speak of the light. Gentle on the ear, you whisper softly, rumors of a dawn so embracing. Breathless love awaits darkened souls. Soon we will know of the morning. Spirit among us, shine like the star. Your light that bring us night and day. Spirit, we wait for your loving
All right, welcome back to Patriots Lament. My name is Joshua Bennett. Got Mr. Mike Anderson here with me today. Morning, Mike.
Morning.
Good to see you, brother, as always. Let's get back to it. You can join us at 907-458-8255. 458-8255. We're on 660 KFIAR and the AM dial here in town. You can also join us on YouTube. Search for Patriots Lament. You can comment there. We always comment back. Sometimes YouTube actually drives the show. Sometimes, depending on the comments. I love Christmas. I love the Christmas story. I love the reason behind Christmas. It's the salvation of the world story. This is the time, even for unbelievers, people, get together with their families. They look forward to this time. It's a time to celebrate life. It's a time to celebrate family and traditions. And if you don't think that the enemy isn't purposefully trying to destroy it by telling you, oh, it looks like we have to cancel Christmas this year. Mm-hmm. Oh, don't travel. We'll travel. The goons. We do what we want. We don't wear masks. We travel. We gather. We go to $400 plate meals. And, every single one of these guys that are, in the news all the time because of their communist behaviors, all of them have been caught cheating on their own rules. Mm-hmm. And then they give a public apology. So when Gavin Newsom did that, I was reading some comments on a story, and I'd say 90% of the comments were saying he apologized. He's a human too. He's allowed to make mistakes. I'm like, oh my gosh, you sheep. You're giving him, he's destroying you, and you're apologizing for him. Mm-hmm. And it's one thing to look at it happening over there. But man, I have friends in Anchorage, a lot of friends. I have a lot of family in Anchorage. Mm-hmm. They're being destroyed. Mm-hmm. And this is the time for healing and family reconciliation and worship, and they want to stop it. And there's no doubt in my mind, these people are evil and they hate Christmas. I mean, I'll say something funny. They're a bunch of Grinches, but they're beyond that. They're red Grinches, not green. They're red communist. Mm-hmm. And they're anti-Christ. They're anti-life. They're anti-human. I mean, these edicts that they're pulling out of their rear end are anti-human. We cannot survive as a human species this way, which they don't mind because all of their big leaders say, well, we need to cut the population to 500 million people. Folks, if you don't believe it, they tell us this. They write about it. They speak about it. They're being blunt. They're not hiding it anymore.
They literally wrote it in stone.
They literally wrote it in stone, the Georgia Guidestones.
Keep the world's population at 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. That's their words. They want to kill most of you.
And they are.
And you're letting them. They can't do it unless you let them, and you're letting them.
We've got to stop it for people that it's not happening to us. What was my brain's dead right at the moment. First they came for the Jews, and I did nothing. Folks, it's that serious. Think about it. 40 million of your fellow Americans don't have enough to eat. 70 million of your fellow Americans don't have a job. And it's not because of COVID. It's because of your government. Sweden is not having this problem. Japan is not having this problem. They didn't lock down. Japan does some of the social distancing and the masking more, but that's, we know that that's cultural part of that too. And gosh dang it, wearing a mask is not going to become a cultural thing in America. Screw you. Folks, take them off.
I saw this post yesterday by a socialist I happen to know. If trickle-down economics worked even a tiny little bit, people wouldn't be flocking to food banks right as the stock market hit its all-time high. They're blaming this on trickle-down economics.
Oh yeah, it's capitalism.
It's I don't care about trickle-down economics. You can argue about that. If you this
right.
The state giving money to big business and they're trickling out. That has absolutely nothing to do with it. If people would quit obeying their masters, people would not be flocking to the food banks.
Folks, they're just human
Obedience
beings
causing this.
They're no different than you are. They put their pants on just like you. They put their socks on just like you. They use the toilet maybe they don't. They're kind of sickos. Let's hit the phones, Mike, before I blow a gasket here. Oh. Ouch. All right, turn down your radio, please. Hello.
Good morning.
Morning. Go ahead. Thanks for calling.
Well, it's a privilege to call. You guys sound like you're doing quite a bit of whining.
You bet.
And of course, there's reason to whine and moan when the evil are in control.
Yeah.
People are going to come to terms one way or the other with reality. And it's in that spirit that I wanted to share a few items with you.
Go ahead.
Well, first, for all the listeners, wherever you be throughout the great land of Alaska, I'd like you just to follow along with these thoughtful words. Almighty God, who has given us this good land for our heritage, we humbly beseech thee that we may always prove ourselves a people mindful of thy favor and glad to do thy will. Bless our land with honorable industry, sound manners, learning, and pure manners. Save us from violence, discord, and confusion, from pride and arrogance, and from every evil way. Defend our liberties and fashion into one unique and united people the multitude brought hither out of many kindreds and tongues. Endow with the spirit of wisdom those to whom in thy name we entrust the authority of government, that there may be justice and peace at home, and that through obedience to thy law we may show forth thy praise among the nations of the earth. In time of prosperity, fill our hearts with thankfulness, and in the day of trouble, suffer not our trust in thee to fail, all of which we ask through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. And for those listeners across the airwaves, cleanse your hearts and your minds. Admit that you're a sinner and that you need to be saved and filled with the Spirit and know what to do in times like this. And cry out to Jesus, ask him to forgive your sins and to come into your heart. And then find a house of worship, Hebrews 10:25, forsake not the assembling of yourselves together as is the manner of some, but encouraging one another so much more as you see that day approaching. It sounds like you gents see some day approaching.
I think it's here.
Well,
I mean, like right now, good luck finding a church that's even open.
Well, did you see November 17th, the newspaper, the front page?
No, go ahead.
Well, there's pressure behind the scenes of the local mayors.
Oh, I've heard about they're asking basically how they can do their own mandates, right?
Well, they recognized they didn't have any authorities. Fairbanks City Mayor and the borough mayor, they recognized they didn't have any authority, and then all of a sudden, there's an actor that shows up, pops up in the AG office as an acting AG and says, "Oh, but you do." And so it goes on, brainwashing the readers of the Fairbanks Daily News Minus, page A1 and A4. And then all of a sudden it segues into the fact that there are believers in Fairbanks meeting. And that, and then also it goes on to segue into, we've got pictures of all the cars in the parking lot. And so this mask thing with the cameras and every other apparatus is doing an identification for those that are and those that aren't wearing the masks. But as you stated, and what did Jesus say? Some are going to come and say, "Lord, Lord, you know, we did this and we did that," and it's going to be an ugly situation. But he also asked, "Why do you call me Lord?" You call me Lord with your lips, but you don't do what I ask you to do.
Yeah.
Your lips are close, yapping, but your heart is far away. I want to say to Alaskans that the first 8 words of our Constitution, which our compact, our statehood compact, and Constitution, Eisenhower and Congress told us that we would remain a republic, which you earlier aforementioned. But the first 8 words of Alaska's Constitution are, "We the people of Alaska, grateful to God." We shouldn't be ashamed to follow the light of the gospel and not follow the herd in a spirit of fear, rapidly running into these webbed corrals.
Yeah.
They want to corral you on the internet. They want to corral you over the phone. They want to crowd your mind and heart away from the gospel. So I would say, first of all, to receive Christ as your Savior, attend church and learn what you can while you can of the gospel, support KJMP, and also have you guys any information on the Covenant of Alaska that in convention was taking place in Wasilla on the 5th of October, 2019, called the Free and Independent Nation State of Alaska. What's your info on that?
I don't really have any. I think I know what you're talking about, but
well, not going to school is a silver lining.
Yeah.
Because see, that's where a lot of the budget is going. I mentioned this before.
Oh, but they need more money. The school system's told the state of Alaska they need more money because of COVID.
That happens every year.
I know, but
that happens every year.
But now, when there's no kids at the public schools, they say they need more money, which is mind-boggling.
Well,
because
no, there has to be an official withdrawal from the entire school system for those numbers to go down, for them to fire these pagan priests of the state that are running around, the NEA's even running ads how much they love your children. And they'll have them strapped on a desk if the legislators, these judicial, imperial judiciary activists, and the legislature has their way. They say they can only portend to be concerned.
Oh, they're not concerned at all. And brother, I'm going to let you go because we got full phones and I want to
But I hope I've given you all something to think about. God bless.
Absolutely. And thanks for calling. Please do again. Didn't want to cut them off, but we got too many people wanting to get in here. They definitely aren't concerned. They're concerned with their own pocketbook, but he's correct. It's on one hand, it's a great thing the schools are closed. On the other hand, there's the more realistic concerns that people have come to rely on them, and some of them it's killing people. So we've got to, Mike, you already talked about it. Mm-hmm. It's pure sudden austerity doesn't work.
Right.
Kill too many people. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's keep hitting the phones here. Hello, caller. Thanks for holding there.
Hey guys. You had mentioned earlier about how the heart disease death rates have gone down.
Yeah.
Last week, Johns Hopkins, an economist at Johns Hopkins, published a report that not soon after Johns Hopkins took down. And this particular report stated that the net amount of deaths for 2020 have not increased for COVID-19.
Nope.
And the reduction of deaths that have been reported for heart disease, pneumonia, and there were two other factors, I think. Those numbers directly are opposite of the increase in numbers of supposed deaths by COVID-19.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So COVID-19 has not created any more deaths, and that's how this thing is just so fake. I mean, among all age groups, not a single more person have died last year compared to this year. The COVID-19 is completely fabricated.
We've
cured
heart disease. We've cured heart disease. We've cured cancer. We've cured the flu.
Except that
we've cured it, and then we just named it.
We call
else.
it COVID-19, right?
Exactly.
Because the flu is down to 2% of what it historically has been. Isn't that great?
Yeah. Well, I have a friend whose mother-in-law is in the Philippines, and she had a severe stroke over there. She had a couple here, actually, and then she went back there. She had a third one. And they found her unresponsive on the floor and tried to take her to the hospital. The caretakers did. And no hospital would take her in the province because they were all designated for COVID. So in order to get her into the hospital, the administrators faked her paperwork and said she had COVID-19 and put her in an ICU. So she was actually, on paper, she was a COVID-19 patient, even though she was a stroke victim.
Wow. Here in the past couple of weeks, I have a coworker who, a friend of his that they were hanging out with, he tested positive. Now my coworker, he has subsequently tested negative for it. But he has a friend of his who he works for Pogo, and he had tested positive, and they put him up at the Regal, or they put him up at a hotel here in Fairbanks.
Mm-hmm.
And he is diabetic. So I guess he was complaining that he was having some issues breathing. Well, the medical, the field paramedic for Pogo put him on an inhaler that actually it works negatively with diabetes.
Sure.
And he almost died because of this inhaler that was prescribed for him. And subsequently, the thing is if he would have died, they would have just marked it down as a COVID-19 death without ever having done the research to see, he was diabetic and he was put on this inhaler, which that's the reason why he died.
Yep.
They would have just assumed it was COVID-19 and completely, that's another case of an inflated number having nothing to do with this false narrative.
So why are they doing it? What's your opinion?
Dupe us all. We've talked about this in weeks past because this is like the fifth week I've called in, I think.
Mm-hmm. That's all right.
And it's all to see how far they can push people.
Yeah.
And see how many people resist and see how many people fall in line, and then just eliminate those who resist.
Yep.
And that's their tactic. That is their tactic. That's why the far left is now talking about generating lists of people who are Trump supporters and generating lists of those who don't wear masks and
COVID
basically
deniers.
blacklisting us. Yeah, blacklisting us for questioning their pseudoscience. And the interesting thing is this whole Johns Hopkins research that came out. The reason why, and they tweeted about this, the reason why they actually took the study down is because it was feeding into the misinformation about COVID-19 mortality rate. And it's like, well, how can you call an actual and factual based scientific study, an economic study, how can you call that misinformation? So you're telling me that these professors and stuff that teach at Johns Hopkins, they just don't know what they're talking about unless it fits a narrative?
Well,
I mean, the whole thing is just so convoluted. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely. And if folks, if you don't know what the caller's talking about, what happened is Johns Hopkins University, they're the ones that actually created all the health mandates that you see across all the states and cities and everything. They wrote it back in the early 2000s. They tried to get it federally passed, these health mandates, but the federal government didn't really have the authority. So they pushed governors and mayors to pass these health mandates. So all this stuff, all these health mandates started with the Johns Hopkins University. Johns Hopkins University is the one that keeps track, the official quote unquote count of all the COVID deaths. Most of, if it doesn't come from Johns Hopkins, then it didn't happen. Basically, it's not science. So,
and this study also used numbers from the CDC.
Exactly.
Like they took CDC numbers directly from their website and based them and put them against their own numbers, and this is what they found.
Right. And so what they found, folks, is that there's been no increase in deaths, overall deaths from this year and last year. But like the caller's talking about, heart disease has dropped down to nearly nothing. The flu, all these other things that people, normally die from every year, those numbers are down to negligent. It's because all these other deaths, they're calling them COVID deaths. So Johns Hopkins actually put this study up on their website and said, oh, look what we found. And obviously they got pressure because it didn't follow the narrative. So they pull it down and they say, oh, we're sorry, but those COVID deniers are using the truth to back up their claims.
And that's misinformation.
Yes.
That's outright misinformation. We can't have that.
Well, maybe they know the truth will set us free too, so they don't really want that out.
Well, you look at it now, and not to bring up the election stuff because we're all pretty much sick of it, but the fact that Pennsylvania is now saying, oh, well, we're going to dismiss this fraud case because there's no merit to it. Come on. Mm-hmm. You really think there's no merit to it? We know, we've seen it.
It's so obvious.
The evidence,
it's dripping.
And for them just to outright deny it and say there's no merit to it, it's mind-boggling. It really is. It's driving me crazy. I have to turn it off anymore. But.
Yeah. Well, actually, the Pennsylvania judge just ruled that the election there was likely unconstitutional according to their state constitution. So that hearing.
Well, that's new.
Yeah. That was just this morning. I saw it.
Oh.
I did read that, but I then also read that a Pennsylvania legislature, I think the speaker of the Pennsylvania legislature, who is a Republican, also said that if they receive the power to send electors, then they are just going to send the electors based on the popular vote. Well, the popular vote, supposedly, even though it's all the fake votes for Biden and the triple votes for Biden, they're still going to send Democrat electors to the Electoral College to vote just based on the fake certified election. I know they're not certified. They redacted the certification, but they're still going to follow through and send Democratic electors. So it's the Supreme Court is going to be the ultimate decider in the whole thing. And basically they just need to nullify the election, then each state delegate, right now the Republicans hold delegates, one state per vote, and or one vote per state, and they just need to do it that way. It's been done 2 other times in history, and the time has come for it to happen again, especially in this instance, and to think that Joe Biden received more votes than any president in history, I mean, that's just asinine. How do you win votes from the basement? When you look at his rallies, he's got 12 people out there, and there's more brand new Fiat Chrysler Jeep products than there is people at his rallies.
Well, he told us, let's just have.
We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
They flat tell you what they're doing. They tell you what they're doing. They tell you what they're doing.
At least with this,
they don't hide it.
At least with his dementia, he's honest.
Yeah, it's the most honest he's been in 47 years of politics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a pro-Trump guy by any means. I mean,
but you can still see it,
right? And but it is literally okay. Are we going to go to globalism, or are we going to stay with the past 4 years, which has been very nationalistic, very, America first. And it's important. It really, when we have 40 million people who are going hungry on Thanksgiving and 70 million people who are out of jobs, I'm sorry, but America is first, because the whole thing is, if Biden's going to get in, he's going to give amnesty to illegals. The illegals are going to swoop in and take these jobs that these 70 million Americans don't have any longer, and take pennies on the dollar.
Well, I don't even think those jobs are there anymore.
No, well, they're
destroyed
probably not.
them.
But any ones that are there, the illegals that are going to receive amnesty, I mean, I'm not going to say that this is going to happen in every instance, but they're used to being paid a lower wage than American workers, and that's statistically proven. So these jobs that do pop up or become available later on down the road, now you have 11 million illegal immigrants who are now in the job market fighting against these Americans who are going to expect higher wages. Who are they going to give the wages to? Are they going to pay $20 an hour to an American, or are they going to pay minimum wage to an illegal immigrant who was granted amnesty, who is completely fine for that wage? Or the H-1B visa workers who, overseas, these people are going to college and sending their money back to their own home countries, taking jobs away from work that American workers need to be doing.
Yeah, but it's way the plan for the Great Reset, let's say, does not even see those jobs being there. They want to have. They're going to have most everything be digitalized, roboticized. It's, for the most part, they want They want people, no matter who you are, to stay at home, and they'll send you a universal basic income.
Oh, well, yeah, no, I know that. I know.
They want to just kind of bump it down, I mean, every scenario is bad. Joe Biden's scenario is bad because, you look at the people that he's putting in place, putting in positions of power, John Kerry being one of them. I mean, he's got Janet Yellen wanting to be Treasury Secretary, and you realize they're turning over the American, supposedly their sovereignty over their dollar and finances and all that. They're giving it all to the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve, with Janet Yellen as the Secretary of Treasury, are going to run the United States. They're going to run the economics of the United States. That is all part of their plan, and they're doing it. They've already given the Federal Reserve more power than it's ever imagined to have.
Yeah, and selling off, trillions of dollars in bonds, basically just completely,
garbage.
Yeah, I mean, completely degrading the dollar. Not that, after
we're doing a good job without it.
After we turned our gold and silver in back when FDR mandated that, that already devalued silver, or that already devalued the dollar significantly. But now, I mean, it's just going to tank it. And China will be at the forefront. There was even here recently, there was a trade deal that they were part of in the Chinese, the Asian continent, that basically is going to circumvent U.S. Production at all costs. I mean, they're just going to basically just isolate themselves from America and just let us crash because no one's going to buy our exports anymore. Even if this great reset thing, if there's some way we can subvert it, there's other ways they're going to do it, regardless of whether we wanted it or not.
Yeah, that's
going
why
to find out a way.
this is it. This is it. This is the all out, one way or the other. And 99.98% of American people don't know it. That's the sad part. Even the folks that are losing their jobs, that don't have meals and stuff like that, too many of them are saying, dang it, the COVID did it. No, your government did it to you.
Yep. Yeah.
Brother, I appreciate you calling in, but I got a full board here and we're running out of time. And I want to.
No, yeah, sorry. We always go over.
No, that's good.
So, all right.
It's because we enjoy the conversation. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I
Thanks.
appreciate it too. Thanks.
Appreciate it. Bye. Just real quick, we will not be on air next week because they're having their the online their auction, the radio station auction, the fall auctions next week. So tune into that. And I only say that because, well, we like the station. Excuse me. We like the station because they allow us to be on here. And believe me, there are other stations we've tried to be into and they like, So we appreciate the big cheeses here at KFAR for, having our back and allowing us to be on here when a lot of stuff we say is not very popular. I know they get phone calls. So, on the other side of it, if you do enjoy the program, or if you don't enjoy it, but you listen anyways, give those folks a call at the station here and just tell them that you appreciate them supporting us to be on the air. We still pay them to be on here, but they don't have to let us be on. And it's not very popular, what we're saying. Or maybe it is becoming more popular. I don't know. It's not very popular with the powers that be. We'll just put it that way. But let's get back to the phones. Pardon?
That's good.
Oh, yeah, that's good. So, yeah, that helps us out. Call in the station yourselves and tell them, hey, thanks for letting these guys be on the air. But the auction next week, I've actually gotten some pretty good deals that blew my mind. So it's worth it. Hello, Carl. You're up next. Thanks for holding on for us.
Hi. Thanks for letting me on. Just a couple really quick thoughts. You had asked the question a little bit back about, why do you think they're doing it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Here's what I believe has happened with the powers that be. They've got two playbooks. They've got the Youth for Hitler's playbook, and they've also got the Ringling Brothers Barnum Bailey playbook. Okay. Now, the Youth for Hitler, he wasn't going to try and get that generation. He was going to try and get the next generation. Okay.
Yep.
Bring them up in the way they should go. That way, when they're old, they'll think everything is cool. Well, he did that with our last generation. That's where they started at. So now we're reaping the benefits of that. Okay. And the Ringling Brothers playbook, when they get the big elephant has a little baby, and they put the huge chain around the little baby's leg, and the little baby fights that chain, and the little small elephant keeps fighting it, finally knows he can't beat that chain, grows up. Eventually they can hold the big elephant with a small rope because their mind has turned to mush, and they said, hey, I can't break this rope. I've never been able to break anything that's held me back. So that's what's happening in our country, I believe. We're just, the sheeple are just falling in line with what the powers that be want them to do. Do I wear a mask? I wear a mask if I go into Lowe's or Home Depot, not for my protection, honestly. I wear a mask out of the folks working there have to do that, and out of respect for them putting up with that stupid thing for 8-hour shifts. Now I say, man, if they got to do it for 8 hours, I can, I don't think it's going to help me at all. I don't think it's going to help anyone else at all. So if I'm a sheep, I don't think so. I just do it out of respect for the people that they want to keep a job. They got to wear their mask.
And I think a lot of people are like that. A lot of people feel that way. No, it's just, it's a little bit frustrating because you don't know, you can't really, you can't really judge what's going on by your vision, right? You can't say, well, wow, everyone's wearing a mask because they think it, because it's not true. I've talked to several people that do the same thing just like you do, and I understand that.
Yeah.
The biggest frustration I've had in my recent adult life, well, since 9/11, actually 9/12 was when the last time I was super frustrated, was when the Congress of the United States, the House of Representatives and the Senate all got on the Capitol steps and in bipartisan effort saying, God bless America.
I remember that.
And I really, really, really was upset with them doing that in bipartisan effort, because I looked at it and said, why are we here? Because of the laws that those people that we elected, that got elected, have created to get God out of this country. And then they're going to say, oh, God bless America. God has blessed America. And you know what? God blessed Israel too. And when Moses couldn't go into the promised land because he disobeyed God, the Jews still got to go into the promised land. The Israelis got to go into the promised land without Moses. You know, God has blessed this country so much and is taken so for granted. You know, I'm not saying God's turning his back on us, but God is saying you reap what you sow.
Well, that is true. I mean, that's just a fact.
But, you know, I don't know. I'm just so frustrated with, gee, yeah, okay, I went out and voted, but what do I do? What can I do as the individual, knowing that when you have more voters turn out to vote than are registered to vote in the state, but that's not fraudulent. When you have, I personally, I'm a landlord that has an empty apartment right now and has had one since the beginning of this COVID thing, when they came out with that, well, you can have a renter that if they can't pay their rent, they don't have to pay their rent. No, they have to pay it when it's over with, but you can't throw them out if they don't pay their rent, even if they have a job.
Yep.
Well, okay, so I'm saying I'm not going to let someone live for free there, and maybe I will. I've had good tenants in the past, and maybe I can continue. But I'm just so frustrated with what's going on in our country, and man, how do you fight back on something like that? I'm just at a loss.
Well, it's difficult, and I think part of it is that we spend too much time. I don't mean you in particular or anyone in particular. I'm just being generalized here, so sorry about that.
Sure.
But we spend a lot of time focusing, and I think it's done on purpose because we're pounded with it so hard on federal stuff, right? Federal elections, or things that are too big for us to really control anyways. Like, you know, your one vote didn't really do squat in a presidential election, especially when they have Dominion systems that vote for them. And like you said, when you've got 600,000 more people voting than you actually have people in your state, it's kind of weird. We're too focused outside of things that we can't really control, and we've kind of lost focus on the things that are right here at home that maybe we can't control, but we can influence. And I think one of the things we've got to do, I don't know either. It's frustrating, but we've got to be vocal. I think just outright, just talking to people. You know, I try to talk to as many people when I go to a store as I can about, hey, what do you think about this? I mean, just out of the blue. And when I go to a shop, I'll talk to the guy behind the counter, or if the guy's the owner, I'll discuss things with them. I went to Altro Heating and Cooling the other day. They didn't require me to wear a mask, and I thank them for it. Just right off the bat, I said, hey, I noticed no one's wearing a mask. Thanks. Appreciate that. And they said, well, you know, we've had people come in that ask us to wear a mask, and we have for that customer. Mm-hmm. Said, but, you know, we've looked at this and that. We don't think that it's necessary. And I said, well, thanks. So, you know, nice little conversation there. I went to another place, and I should just say who it is. I went to Ferguson's, and they had a big sign that said, due to the recent local executive order, we require a mask. And I went in there and I said, what executive order are you talking about?
Mhm.
And they said, well, the governor just made an executive order. We have to wear masks. I said, well,
Where?
first, he did not make an executive order. In fact, one of the good things he did was he said, I can't tell you what to do. We're grown-ups. We should make our own decisions in that. So in that side, thank you, Governor, for knowing that we're grown-ups. We can make our own decisions. So anyways, I explained he did not make an executive order. He said the exact opposite of that. And I said, even if he had, he doesn't have the authority to require you to do that. An executive order is not law. And they said, well, we require masks. I said, then I'll shop somewhere else. Thank you. And I walked out.
A moment ago, I went around the barn to get to the front door when I was talking about being a landlord.
Uh-huh.
In the mailbox for the apartment, I received no fewer than 6 mail-in applications for previous tenants and I've owned the building since 2012, 2013, December, January. These were all people that lived there before I ever owned the house and the apartment, okay? And I threw them away, but I got these mail-in ballot requests, threw them away. My wife, who has not voted Democrat, I know for a fact she hadn't voted Democrat, we go into the voting booth together. But from the Democrat Party, some women's organization, she's got about 4 or 5 mail-in requests to do her voting, which she didn't do. This mail-in voting crap is, man, I've been looking in the Constitution. I just can't find it.
No, it's a crock.
And like your soundbite you had with Joe Biden, when he said that, I'm thinking, wow, now that is just showing the other team your play, what your strategy is. And Donald Trump didn't pick up on that. He should have just thrown it back in their face. But we're the Republicans and the Democrats. Mm-hmm. When I was a kid growing up in school, last thought, now I'll let someone else get on board. When I was growing up in school, if I got in a fight, I had this stupid idea in my head: don't punch him in the face. I don't want to get punched in the face, so punch him in the gut. Don't punch him in the face. You know what? I got punched in the head a lot. Not a lot. I'm not daft right now. I'm not Muhammad Ali, but they never followed my lead. And that's what the Republicans do. We can't do that. Oh, we got this Republican senator that's caught fooling around with the secretary. Well, he quits being a senator. We got a president that he does things in the Oval Office that most other presidents we don't know of have ever had done. But that was okay because that really wasn't sex, according to him. And it was accepted. So, it's double standards everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And we allow it. I mean, they only get away with what we let them get away with.
The good news is, in 4 years, if the American people still get an opportunity to voice their opinion,
maybe
statute of limitations will not have run out on Hunter Biden, nor, quote unquote, the big guy, whoever the big guy is. The statute of limitations won't have run out on all that corrupt money that came into Hunter Biden and his associates through his emails and what have you. But, statute of limitations won't be gone.
Or they still won't do anything.
Oh, hello. Hello. Yeah, you got a great show, and I appreciate it, but I'll let someone else take on it.
Well, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. There will be an election in 4 years, but it'll probably be mostly a pony show, just like North Korea or Saddam Hussein's Iraq, or, we always use those countries as examples of laughable fraud, but it's right here. We don't even have to. One of our good friends here on YouTube just said Alaska's on a roll to be more than 100% turnout in the election this year. It's amazing.
There's the Gateway Pundit just put out an article, revealed video released a phone call recording to Chinese manufacturer requesting a bulk order of fake U.S. 2020 ballots. And you can call up China and have fake ballots customized.
Well, I don't want to, I hate the election, but it's still mind-boggling. In Pennsylvania, okay, they had, and it totaled up to like 120 or 150,000 votes, where they received so many mail-in ballots back the day they mailed them. They received a whole bunch of mail-in ballots. There was 3 different things. It was the day they mailed them, they got them back. They, supposedly mailed them. One of them, they got something like 50 or 60 some thousand votes, mail-in ballot votes, back before they sent them.
Right, and yeah, and
how?
Well, see, the state had also, the state had sent out 1.6 million mail-in ballots. They'd sent them out, but they had received 2.5 million back.
Right.
It's obvious it was fake. I mean, how much more obvious do you have to get to realize the mail-in ballots were fraud?
Because you can't just go get, it has to be an official ballot from the state. You can't go on.
The state knows how many they sent out, but they received almost twice as many back.
Can't go on Adobe and just make one up and like, oh, here we go. This one works.
Apparently you can.
Yeah. Hey, let's hit this other caller because he's been waiting a while.
Yeah.
Hello, caller. Thanks for holding for us.
Wonderful. You asked that you pondered what you thought the end game was, and then that guest called in and, staying shut up at home, waiting for that cure check, the federal check to compensate for it all.
Yep.
I don't think they're going to give you a check. I think that there should be mutual assistance pacts with communities and neighbors and the common denominator interest. And
that's a great idea.
Of course, that lines up with our First and Second Amendments and so on, the 10th. And what is the end game? Well, it's on the way, and it's that virus. And I would, again, encourage people not to take the Kool-Aid.
Yep. And part of that Kool-Aid is the little Kool-Aid mixture they're putting together to put in a syringe to put in your arm. Don't take that either.
It's a bioweapon.
Yes.
It is.
It's a delayed bioweapon, and then they'll see the houses will be empty, and then the illegal aliens that Congress is letting through the borders, they're going to be occupying their home. They're already getting paid something like $24,000 apiece of our taxpayer monies. They want to put them on Social Security and welfare and everything else, and this is egregious. And of course, the shot across the bow was when President Trump handed that speech over to the House and the Senate representatives and the Congress when he gave his speech. And it was ripped up by this Pelosi, the one that got out on the Capitol and said, God bless America. And here she's ripping the people's property up in front of the nation, in front of children, in front of all those assembled. Where was the Sergeant at Arms? Where was the Sergeant at Arms?
There's no...
This is in your face, and it's going to be in your home, and it's going to be in your arm. It's already on your face.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's a great idea with the community packs. That's a really good idea. Thanks for that call. It might be more important. We could survive this if we did go back to more of what we had before the American Revolution and thereafter, before we had the Constitution and those glorious years when we had no federal government, those 8 years of freedom or 11 years of freedom, I like to talk about, between the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Those colonies survived on basically similar pacts, what he's talking about. They, it was Franklin's little deal, join or die. That wasn't just for warfare. That was for we've got to help each other. Or everyone's going to be dead. What do we do to help Anchorage? I mean, we got to think right. I got one more real quick.
Oh,
because I don't want to forget what,
Okay.
when he was saying it's so blatant and stuff, folks, he's right. There is no semblance of jurisprudence or any of that stuff anymore. There's no real, they're breaking all the laws.
Mhm.
They're breaking all the rules, their own rules, and telling us, well, you have to follow them. And because I know everyone's looked at something on, or read something, or saw something on TV where you're going, what? That doesn't make sense. You're right. It doesn't. It's wrong. They're being blatant about it, but they're telling you, you have to deal with it. They're telling our fellow Alaskans, again, in Anchorage, suck it up and die.
Mhm.
Do you think the mayor there is foregoing her paycheck?
Oh, I doubt it.
She's unelected.
I doubt she's even forgoing her bribes.
She's You're exactly right. She's unelected. How can we allow this to happen? I mean, this isn't a far off country. This isn't, we're not talking about Ethiopia or something like that. We're starving kids. We're at literal hunger right here.
Mhm.
And they're doing it to us. They're creating what Biden talked about, the dark winter. Mike, what is a dark winter when he says that? Everyone's heard Biden talk about the dark winter, long dark winter.
Bill Gates did talk. He did make a mention. I remember.
It's a psychological warfare deal that they did a couple years ago.
Bill Gates used the term dark winter when he was referring to an exercise that was simulating a smallpox outbreak.
And if you want to know what they're doing with the COVID-19, just read about Operation Dark Winter, because they've already war gamed it. It's psychological warfare. I'm not Alex Jones, but this is really happening.
I do have to give some credit to Alex Jones, though. I remember the film Endgame from 13 years ago. Oh, shoot. Okay, go to the break.
You got the top when we get back. Folks, 907-458-8255.
Shopping is a higher risk activity, and as a result of that, online shopping is skyrocketing. According to Adobe, this year compared to last year, on Thanksgiving, online sales shot up nearly 22%. Black Friday sales are projected to jump 39%, and Cyber Monday could see it increase by 35%.
Fox's Alex Hogan in New York. Several states are imposing new restrictions as COVID-19 cases rise at record rates. Fox's Christina Coleman is in Los Angeles, one of the many areas with new limitations.
LA County is launching stricter COVID guidelines as of Monday. A new stay-at-home order goes into effect. It bans people from public and private gatherings with people from outside of their home. LA County residents are advised to stay home as much as they can and to always wear a face mask that covers their nose and mouth when they're outside. The ban on gatherings does not include faith-based services or protests.
Health officials say reported cases in the days ahead will likely go down only because fewer people are being tested over the holidays. Many testing centers have shorter hours. President-elect Joe Biden expected to name more members of his cabinet next week, and he's going to get access to daily presidential briefings.
There's still some concern among some of his strongest supporters that his team, at least as it's currently constructed, is sorely lacking in African-American representation. In fact, South Carolina Congressman James Clyburn is urging his friend to consider more African-Americans for senior posts. Now, we do know that the former Fed chair, Janet Yellen, is very likely to be named Treasury Secretary, and if confirmed by the Senate, she'd be the first woman to hold that position in American history.
Fox's Kevin Cork. America is listening to Fox News.
What sets affordable used cars apart from the other guys? Let's start with a huge selection. Affordable has over 400 clean, late model 4x4 trucks, cars, and SUVs. All makes, all models for over 24 years. Affordable has helped Alaskans purchase quality used vehicles at great prices. Affordable Used Cars also has easy, no-hassle financing and a low-pressure sales staff that truly is there to help you. Why, you can buy a car at Affordable in less than an hour. Affordable is Alaska's choice.
Don't miss 50-50 Friday on KFAR. Every Friday morning at 9 a.m. sharp, we offer up amazing gift certificates from different local businesses. That's when they go on sale for half price. From incredible food offers to fantastic services, you'll get it for half price every Friday at 9 a.m. So don't miss out on this offer.
This week's 50-50 Friday deal is brought to you by Premier Carpet Cleaning. Do you have kids, animals, husbands that forget to take off their shoes when they come in the house? Well, it's time to get those carpets cleaned and for half the price. Score! Services are for carpet, upholstery, and tile cleaning only. Pet treatment available for an extra fee. Don't miss this chance to have a fresh, clean home before Christmas. See details on our website for 50/50 Friday with Premier Carpet Cleaning.
This Friday morning at 9 a.m., log on to our website at KFAR660.com. Simply click on the red 50/50 ticket in the upper right-hand corner and get your gift certificate for half price. That's 50/50 Friday at KFAR660.com.
McKinley Orthopedics is proud to welcome Dr. Kim Driftmeyer, a fellowship-trained spine surgeon completing his training at Harborview Medical Center. Dr. Driftmeyer makes McKinley Orthopedics the only practice offering multi-specialty orthopedic care. With 4 different fellowship-trained, board-certified physicians, the most advanced team continues to bring cutting-edge surgery to Fairbanks. Patients no longer need to fly to the lower 48 for care. If back or neck pain is getting you down, come to the practice that now has a spine specialist. McKinley Orthopedics, Sports Medicine and Spine, located on Geist Road. Visit McKinleyOrtho.com.
Frontier Outfitters is a proud sponsor of Shooter's Corner, your source for news and conversation on guns and your Second Amendment rights, local events, important legislation, and more. Whether for personal protection, hunting, or target competition, if you shoot, Frontier Outfitters has what you need. And the Alaskan-proven outdoor equipment for your next adventure, hunting, fishing, camping, and hiking. When you head outdoors, head to Frontier Outfitters for your Alaskan lifestyle. Listen in Thursday mornings at 11 to Shooter's Corner right here on KFAR.
Yes, Taco Thursday is a thing, and it happens every Thursday at Big Daddy's. Big Daddy serves up the most amazing chicken tacos, complete with shredded cheese. These chicken tacos are delicious and filling, and you can enjoy them for just $1.25 each every Thursday at Big Daddy's Barbecue. And don't miss out on those sides as well, including fries, okra, baked beans. The menu is full of great ideas and great value. We'll see you for Chicken Taco Thursday at Big Daddy's on Wickersham between 1st and 2nd Avenues. The northernmost Southern barbecue, Big Daddy's.
right, this is the best part of the song. Listen up on it. That's the King's College Choir. You can find that on YouTube. They've got hours of goodness. And I mean hours. One of their concerts like 2 and some hours, and the Christmas special, and it is so good. It's so good. Verse 3 of that song, O Holy Night, truly he taught us to love one another. His law is love, and his gospel is peace. The chain shall he break, for the slave is our brother, and in his name all oppression will cease. I'd say we've got some serious oppression with our brothers in Anchorage. You have the floor, Mike. Go ahead.
You just mentioned Alex Jones. I was just saying, hey, if you look back, like his film Endgame 13 or 14 years ago, when it was put out, even I thought some of it was kind of insane. But that stuff's all coming true right now. I mean, he actually did say that they were going to bring in martial law with medical tyranny and a virus. So I do have to give him some credit for that.
Yeah.
Actually, quite a bit of credit. So, yeah.
Let's hit the phone.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, caller.
This me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Oh, I just calling to help you tighten down some of them gaskets.
Thank you.
I think it put a few pounds more torque on some of those. And the spirit of Christmas is something else besides love. He taught us. He taught us to take the situations we have in our lives and make the best of them. And the little Jesus family there had to go into town because some government told them they had to go take a census. And that was very inconvenient to send somebody down there to do that. Yet they made the best of it, found a place to stay, and had a baby. He didn't have the best of conditions to deal with. But I think the lesson in that, and in the Christmas story too, is adapt. I mean, we got a choice. What choice do you have? Adapt or die. I don't think we're the only people in the world that have to do that. I think we got something going on right now, but I think we can get through it. We're going to have to do what you do when you're adapting. What if we had 10 foot of snow? That would be a little rough, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but 10 foot of snow is from nature that's not trying to actively kill you. And we have not only them, they're trying to actively kill you, they're doing it. I mean, look, this situation in Anchorage, it's horrid. They're killing people.
Yeah, but what are they really? And
Yes.
they're in Anchorage. Are you in Anchorage? We're here in Fairbanks.
I know.
I mean, I haven't seen anybody dying in the street up here. At least not lately.
Well, when about
need-
adaptability, humans have an amazing ability to adapt, and it's why they've been able to survive. So adaptability is part of the survival, but the powers that be understand that, and they use that to their advantage. And so when we see them trying to use our ability to adapt to their advantage, we should refuse to adapt to what they want us to adapt to.
Yeah, but what if we took this and we focused, and then part of, I mean, I'm an old guy. Old guys been around a little bit. But what if we took our focus, instead of focusing on the external, just focused on our adapting, and say, well, we normally didn't have to do anything with the neighbors, but maybe me and the neighbor can work together to clean out this road or something. Or maybe me and the neighbor can, let's see if we can't, get together, put our skills together. Let's get a delivery service for old people. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there.
I think you're right.
How about
about
we
that.
go?
I'm following what you're talking now.
Bring the old people some groceries that live way out of town. Now they can take a cab if they want, but and then there's other things. There's another neighbor over next door. He does this, and well, put your heads together. Maybe we can, try to work something out in that direction. Because troubles like this. Part of what they can do in a positive way is get us to start thinking together.
Yes.
And more us and a little less what other people are doing and what the government can help us with or not help us with, and take our minds off it. See, otherwise if we get 10 feet of snow, for instance, well, that'll sure take our minds off of COVID for a while, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't get that. We get 80 inches of snow a year. We get 120, I think, was max up here in Fairbanks. But the idea is here that would really make us work together.
Yep.
So why do we have to wait for something like that? We got a problem. This thing we don't know. We got some vaccines coming, and maybe half the country won't take them. So we end up having our economy screwed up for another 3 years, maybe 4 years, and we just have to bear it. You can't do anything about it. Nobody will. We just can't. So we're going to have to work together even closer. But the idea is adapt. What else can you do? I came back from a war with injuries. I adapted and took what I had to do, and I made it work, and did a pretty good life with it.
Yeah, just don't adapt in the direction that they want.
Well,
right?
Why even pay attention to what they care about? I mean, by doing what you're doing, is you're actually feeding their egos with what you're talking about.
No, people are dying, and people are going along with it.
They're dying.
Can't say that. Yes. Have you not read anything? Come on,
I don't believe everything I read.
I don't either. You know that. You really think that suicides aren't going up? People are not killing themselves? Everything you can look at says that they are.
Yeah.
And not from evil people. People that are good folks are pointing it out, saying that suicides are gone. They've doubled. Some places they've tripled.
But suicide is a personal choice.
Yeah, but they're not doing it because they think everything's hunky dory.
They have their own reasons for doing it. We see the pot sales are doubled, and you can get home delivery of booze to your house, but you can't get groceries.
You can't go to church. Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yes,
people aren't losing jobs.
We are a people
so
that
businesses aren't going out of business. People aren't shutting their doors.
Well, business will have to change. If you have, if all you have is horses to deal with, you got to adjust business around horses, because if that's your choice.
But we're not.
You keep complaining about not having.
But we're not there yet. Why go along and let them get us to that point where all we have is a horse?
Wait till the horses escape from the barn, and then deal with it.
But we're not at the horses yet, and they already have escaped.
Yeah. You said this before. Is why make our own economy and deal with our own economy when we don't have to? It's sounding pretty good now to have an alternate economy.
Yeah.
And we don't have to, act like, some group living on a farm or something. There's people in the city can act as a community more than they usually used to. Let's put it that way. Just more than you're usually used to. The last pandemic we had in 1920, I believe, they only had a shutdown for 2 weeks to a month. That was it. And then it was over.
Well, that's what they told us.
Well, that's what those, at least in the history that we got. I don't know if maybe it went out longer, but they basically, it wasn't a 8-month or 10-month shutdown, but they did adapt their community to deal with it. They turned their school into some sort of a overflow hospital. They did a bunch of stuff.
This isn't the 1918 pandemic.
No,
though.
that was 1920. We had it up here in Fairbanks.
Okay, then right, but this isn't even close to that.
No,
this is a manufactured pandemic.
Well, if it's manufactured or not, we still have to deal with it. See, I mean, if you've got the focus, if you take to focusing on the problem instead of focusing on solutions or something that has some positive direction, then you're going to be stuck in a loop for.
We got to have a positive direction, but unfortunately, most people don't even realize there's a problem. I mean, they still say, "Oh, that darn COVID, it shut my business down." No, it didn't. Your government shut your business down.
Well, your business is shut down, and you have to deal with it, regardless if it was the Mongols attacked from China. And
but we're not.
Down, you'd still have to deal with it.
We're not powerless to have to just let it happen to us. Are we?
Well, we'll
just adapt. Whatever you do to us, we'll just go along with it and adapt to it.
We have the power within ourselves to deal with it. The young men have the strength. The old men have the wisdom. If you put those two things together, I'm not strong enough to do much of anything, but I can direct and I can contribute in a way that will allow the young men to function very well.
Sure.
And I think that's true of you and anyone else out there. You put the two, you right groups of people together, and you can do tremendous things. And we can have a better economy up here in Fairbanks than they do in Anchorage.
Yep.
And we don't even have fish to go. I mean, we can do stuff with this tundra and with this stuff that it's just because we put our heads together and we have the will to move in a positive direction using each other's strengths. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I agree.
But that takes something. It takes a certain amount of humility. It takes a certain amount of all the things that you know about that have to do with character. And some of that has to maybe change. You didn't have to use that before, but maybe it's a due for that sort of thing to move in a positive direction. I think that the young need leadership. And if the older ones don't have either the interest, desire, and if the young ones don't have the interest to follow, then yeah, we're stuck.
Well,
we're stuck forever.
The only thing I'm struggling a little bit here because yes, we should adapt to the evil we see before us, but at the same time, we can't just sit back and obey to everything that they want done and just say, well, we'll adapt to whatever you do to us. We still have the right to disobey them and not go along with them, don't we?
If it has the ability to cause something to have it to go in a positive direction. If somebody telling you to take your neighbors out and machine gun them in the backyard like they did in Germany, and you just say no, well, yeah, disobey would have a good result, but sooner or later they just go do it anyway. In the meantime, you got to deal with it. I mean, there's certain things in life that, not maybe getting too preachy, but certain things in life that you just have to just suck it up and just head in the positive direction and forget about the people that are crying, forget about the people that are whining, and just move on and, get the firewood cut and bring the stuff in and fix the heater, and just go ahead, let them do what they want to do. If they don't want to help themselves, then they're going to die.
But
I mean, I'm just trying to be blunt here.
Yeah, but eventually they're going to come machine gun you because you're the guy that's just getting on.
Then eventually that's the way it'll, because that's what you got.
But we
got
don't
a bunch of Nazis in there with guns. I wouldn't be able to stop them in 1933. I don't know what I would do.
No, that's a good point.
Bear it. I mean, what you would do? You start to complain and get on the radio, and then they gun you down. So, I mean, we don't have that here.
Not yet.
We don't have exactly a kind and loving government either, but it's something in between.
For now,
we're in the early transition.
But
period.
yeah, we're in a very early transition to. I mean, this.
We need to get in a positive direction. That's the main thing. How fast you get there and whether you actually accomplish it is another question.
Well, I just feel like my job right now is to let people know that there are people down, their neighbors, their friends, their relatives are actually suffering, and it's not necessary. And it's not because of a pandemic. It's because of their government. I just want them to understand that and realize it, because that's part of erase government from your mind. You don't have to obey. They don't have authority. No man has authority over another man. That's just garbage. It's garbage.
Well, when your kids are, they better have authority.
Well, of course. I said, man, adult. I don't have the right to tell you what to do, like vice versa and blah, blah, blah. Just because some person gets like elected, big deal. I didn't elect them. I don't agree to it.
Yeah.
We've got to push back. If we don't push back now, screw our kids, because they're toast.
But tell me this, what good would be pushing back? I mean, if you push me down onto the ground,
I don't want to push you down on the ground. I want to push back against evil. I want to push back against
I'm going to get up and get my groceries and go home.
All right.
Okay. I appreciate the callers.
You know what?
Calling in.
I appreciate you. I always love when you call in, because
call in and give you some help. I appreciate the callers more than I sometimes appreciate you.
Ah, I do too. I don't mind.
Good day.
Thanks.
There's a post on Armstrong Economics this morning that addresses a lot of these questions and the underlying thoughts that the callers are having.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Digital Dollar and Civil War. Go read it.
Why don't you post that up on the thingamajig?
Oh, okay. I'll put it on the website right now.
Right.
Also, I put up on the website, Harrison Bergerson movie link on YouTube. So go watch that. It's terrible resolution. There's a better version that you can download on Sarah Tippis' site.
Yeah, make sure check out. Mike's got another good article there on our website, pATRIOT'S.com. Let's hit the phones because we're running out of time. They're full. Hello, caller, you're up next.
Greetings. Yeah, how's it going?
Hey, Charles, how you doing, man?
Okay. I brought the subject up with Steve Floyd one time, and he didn't get it, but the United Nations had a treaty to prevent genocide signed in 152 parties still are signatories to that treaty, and a definition of genocide in that treaty, the original one that I saw, included just simply groups of people. It mentioned religions and maybe a creed or something like that, but just a regular old group of people was included in. So we can be like a number of individuals. We have to remember not to be a group. We have to be individuals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Assembled. Yep. Mm-hmm. I think we have to be that. That's my comment. But Steve didn't get it because I brought up the United Nations. But read that treaty or the original copy of it anyway, and you'll find out that all persons, I believe, would describe all what any person might fit into one of the categories. What they describe as genocide to be against.
Yep.
But the United Nations has that. Of course, when I say peace, people think I'm mean, but I say peace like peace, man.
Absolutely.
That's what I say. So, thanks for the show.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Yep. Right, we'll hit at least one more. Hello, caller, you're up next.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, I just read a quote that was righteous. It was said, "Villainy wears many masks. The most dangerous is the mask of virtue."
Yeah, that is so true.
I hope you all have a good holiday season, and thanks for being on there.
All right, thanks, Cecily. All right, we have just enough time for one more. Hello, caller, you're up next.
Yeah, well, good afternoon. Well, good morning.
Morning.
all this ball game started quite a long time ago. There's a big plan going here. You know, right when that 9/11 went down, look how much of our rights we passed away of being searched everywhere. It started then already, the deterioration of the Constitution. And they're working at it all the time till they have it all done. And there you are.
And here we are. Yep.
That's right. And it's a continuing thing. And they're going to get it all. So, you ever read that book, 1984?
I decided to live it instead.
That'll open your eyes.
I thought the book was called COVID 1984.
Ever since I read that book, I never had a computer, never had a cell phone, never had a credit card. You're under surveillance, man.
Yep, 24/7.
Yeah, that's right. All right, now, have yourself a good afternoon.
Thank you. Hey, caller, we got less than a minute, so if you can blast it, that'd be great.
Hello.
Hi. Go ahead.
So to wrap in what the other two previous callers said, finding out who your neighbors are and what they can do, and deciding to do a mutual cooperation between yourself and your neighbors might be helpful at this time.
Absolutely.
Because without knowing your neighbors, without knowing what everybody's skill sets are, how can we cooperate if the government decides to push this even further?
And they're going to, that's an excellent point. No, absolutely. And it should be easy by now. It really should.
No, thank you guys for being on air and speaking to this problem that we have encountered and offering up solutions that are actually workable. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for the call and offering solutions. That's good stuff. Have a great day. All right, folks, we're at the end here. We will not be here next week. Whether we might do a video cast. Yeah, we can do that. So we might only be YouTube next week. It's just because they're having the auction next week. Make sure you tune into that. Support this station. They appreciate it. Call them up and tell them you support us being on here too, if you don't mind. Because I'm afraid we're going to be getting closer to being pulled off here. Yeah. All right, folks. Have a safe week. And thanks for everyone to call. See you next week.
Assassination of the country's top nuclear physicist. Fox's Ryan Chilcote says Iran blames the killing on Israel.
Israelis have long been suspected of conducting these kinds of attacks in Iran, including one that killed a nuclear scientist in that country almost exactly 1 decade ago.
Israel denies involvement in yesterday's killing. America is listening to Fox News.
Have you ever tried to drink honey through a straw? When it gets cold, and it will, the oil in your vehicle is about the same thickness as honey, with your oil pump trying to get that thick goop up to the top of your cold engine. This causes friction and wear on engine parts. A complete winterization like the one offered at Expressway Auto will heat that engine oil, making it flow. For only $550, you get a complete